Hi, I'm John. This is my show, A Sports Reckoning. So, I forgot this guy's name already and stuff, right? Because I turned against him and shit, because he blocked me like all fucking losers do on YouTube and shit, right? I'm just like so overwhelmed when I think about how like blocked I am all over the place, right? That these people don't have conversations. This one thing is just really bugging me too. Just recently on my Michael Jackson page, I've come up with it's not even come up with. I've had this for a while, but I was gonna disprove or like debunk psychic abilities, right? And because I say that I'm the one that's proven that Michael Jackson's real parents are Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson, okay? And Michael Jackson being the massive star of what he is, plus Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson being the stars of what they are, there's no way that people that are psychics haven't done psychic readings on them or tried to look into their future. I see people trying to conjure the dead spirit of Michael Jackson. Like every single thing that you can think of that is that in any kind of way, psychic reading, tarot cards, everything, astrological readings, every single thing that you can think of, you'll find on YouTube. People have done it. But you know what they never did? They never said Michael Jackson's real parents are Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. That never happened and shit, right? So, to me, that totally invalidates whatever it is that they're doing. It's not real, right? So I was going to go search into debunk a psychic, but then an astrological person came up, and I went to that person's page, and that person's saying, I'm such a huge Michael Jackson fan, right? And the person is saying, I want to pray for God's wisdom, and now it's all about love. And I went and made a video about him, and I did it in as respectable form of what I can do, like being the person I am and stuff, right? So, and then I made the video about the guy. I told him. He came over, and this was a black guy. And because this is another thing that is like, I'm having a hard time dealing with all this stuff. It's really starting to, it really put a weight that I'm carrying. It's really fucking hard. And so the black guy says, oh, well, Michael looks just like the rest of his family and shit, right? He looks like all his brothers. And, you know, because the saying is that white people think that all black people look alike. But that's a common thing between different races, that we think other races think all other races look all the same and shit, right? But there's that one stereotype, because we're in America and stuff, right? That the black people, oh, you think we all look alike and shit, right? And so what's happening is I get these black people, because I'm white, and I get all these black people keep telling me, Michael looks like the rest of the Jacksons. So to me, all I hear is they all look alike. That's like, when I hear people say that, all I hear is they all look alike. And I'm constantly being told that from black people. And like I said, this guy that's the psychic, he's an astrological reader guy, whatever. He's all, a Michael Jackson fan, you know, and it's like, I'll present evidence, and all you're going to come back at me with is they all look alike and stuff, and you're supposed to be intuitive, and I don't know, it's like, and then so I made my video. I told him to go watch it, and he came over. I guess he watched it. He asked me for a little bit of evidence. I was going to show him some other shit, and instantly, boom, he blocked me. No more conversation. He didn't want to have no more conversation. Wasn't interested in the story I was telling, right? And he didn't care about any of my facts. And this is a guy that claims to be a godly person and cares about wisdom of the universe and stuff, right? And he claimed and even said the words, I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. But as soon as he comes up against me, boom, blocked. And it's like, boy, it's been really hard for me to deal with this stuff. It's been really, really difficult. And so what I'm trying to show to people is that these people that claim to be experts, it's like, let's test that theory then, right? Let's test it and shit, right? Test it. Like, there's a really interesting thing that's going on right now with Joe Rogan, where there's some doctor that's like heavy in the vax and stuff. And Robert F. Kennedy, though, is, man, he is impressive. Robert F. Kennedy and the way he understands and tell you about how all these vax stuff got formed, and the pesticides things and all the stuff of what they're doing and stuff to us, and man, is he impressive and shit, right? So Joe Rogan told the guy that's the expert, said, oh yeah, well, why don't you debate Robert Kennedy? If you're such an expert, why don't you debate Robert Kennedy? Because basically what Joe Rogan is saying is like, I've listened to you, both of you, and the expert is obviously Robert Kennedy, is the Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he's the expert and shit, right? It's clearly obvious and shit, right? And then everybody's like, oh no, you know, they put him down and degrade him. They can find, like with me, there's a million reasons for you to put me down. There's a million things and shit, right? It's so easy to do that and shit, right? But what it comes down to is just like, well, because people are afraid to deal with me, you know? Why? Why are you so afraid to deal with me and shit, right? If I'm such a loser and I'm spouting such nonsense and shit, it should be so easy then to debunk me. And they can't do it. And so this is the thing. It's like, now this guy is definitely an expert in collectibles and I don't knock that. There's all kinds of information what he can get. But this is what I said. His expert ability, when he went to buy something on his own and make an investment, he bought this Star Wars cardboard backing of a toy. I guess it's in the like manufacturing stages, right? So oh, it's Star Wars. Yeah, it's come from the manufacturer and shit, right? Okay, but when I look at it and stuff, I'm still like, okay, well, where's the cool factor? What's cool about that? Right? That's a big thing. It's like, you guys are hyping up stuff that's like, okay, but in reality, it's just a piece of cardboard. It's really not, I don't see the cool factor in that, right? And he paid $3,000 but you got to grade it. Well, it's got to be graded at this grade or higher, or I'm not even interested in it. Well, if you're not interested in a lower grade, then obviously it's not that interesting. There is no cool factor. If the only thing that makes it cool for you is that it's in pristine condition and it's been graded and documented as pristine condition, it's like, okay, you want me to take a dump in a box and grade it pristine condition? I'll do it for you and shit, right? Right, so this is what I'm going to show you here. He, with all his expert analysis and everything, he invested in that $3,000. Okay, so now I'm going to show you something I picked up recently and shit, right? Because I haven't actually shown this on a video yet. I showed pictures that I was going to get these and stuff, but I never actually showed the actual items once I have them in hand and stuff, right? Okay, so these are tiles, okay? Okay, see, it's a tile. Okay, see, it's a tile. Okay, so you see there, they're hand signed, and then these have some kind of number up here. So like that tells you like the date and the number of exactly what it is. So it's totally documented. It's official what it is and stuff, right? Now I do not know how many of these are in print. I don't know how rare they are, but one of the standards I use for rarity and stuff is I go to eBay and I see, well, can you buy these on eBay? And so like, okay, so I got these off of eBay, right? But so now go look for any of the Star Wars, which I couldn't find. And I think there's mainly just like one seller that sells these tiles on eBay. I don't know. It's one of those things though. If you go to eBay and you try and find these, you can't find them. Okay, so right there, to me, it's like, well, that can be two factors. Either it is really rare, or the people that have them like them so much that they don't put them up for sale. So you don't ever see them come to market because the people that buy these bought them and for their enjoyment, and they're enjoying them and they have them, right? They're not selling them. They bought them because they're a reasonable price. They're actually produced by an actual artist. His name is Dean Russo. See, they're all hand-signed. So each one of these tiles is hand-signed by the Dean Russo. These are actually created by an artist. You know, I think back of like Picasso and stuff, right? He made all kinds of like tiles, stuff like that, ceramics. There's all kinds of things that he would make, right? And so everything that he made is valuable. It has value. But now, how much value could these have and stuff? I don't know. But I know the value of what I paid for them, and I was more than happy to pay that because the enjoyment of what I'm going to get out of these things are fucking beautiful, you know? And they have collectability to them. They're actually created by an actual artist, so there is a potential to rise in value, to make a profit if you wanted to make a profit. But like these three tiles, right? What I'm trying to say is that if you walked into a Star Wars convention, right? Even a Star Wars convention, people that know stuff about Star Wars, and you had on a table and it said, choose. You could either choose that item that I just showed you there that Sean had, right? That cardboard backing, and there would be no price on it. It would just say choose. You could either choose that item or you could choose these 3 tiles. There'd be very, very, very few people, I would think, that would choose that item that Sean had over there from, what's it, Reserve Investments? Yeah, that Star Wars cardboard back. I think there'd be hardly anybody. I actually think you could put each one of these individual tiles. You could say, you could either have one of the tiles, you would put the 4 items. You could say choose one of the tiles, or you could choose that item that Sean has over there that he paid $3,000 for. I don't think hardly anybody would take that. I think it would constantly go that people would take these tiles, right? So the cool factor, right, is the under is underestimated. It's undervalued, right? When people are trying to place the value on something because of the scarcity of it or the technical importance into the production history, when they're placing all the value on that, but they're negating to look at the cool factor, which I think the cool factor is like the number one thing. I think it's more important than the other things. I think the cool factor is more important because it's got to be cool. If I want to own it, I want it to be freaking cool. Cool's is a big deal. I want to see the beauty of it, right? I want to see it, and I want to see it looking beautiful. I want it to be cool, right? And if it's cool, then I don't need it to be rare, and I don't need it to be documented and graded in a box and shit to try and prove to people. No. You got to listen to me. This is cool because of this and this. But you just look at it, and where's the cool factor? I don't see the cool factor, right? They've got to explain it to you. But these, I don't have to explain to anybody that these are fucking cool. These are fucking cool and shit, right? These are cool. These have cool factor to them, right? That's fucking cool. That's cool. And they're done by an actual artist, signed, so they're got to be in some kind of limited print. But like I said, I don't know how many of these are made, but I assume because it's done by a real artist, I would think that it's like under 10,000. I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe it's 1,000. Maybe it's 5,000. Maybe it's 10,000. I don't know. I don't know how many there are, but I know that if you go to eBay and try and find them, you're not going to find them. So it's like, they're rare enough where you can't find them and shit, right? Look at that. That is fucking cool. The cool factor and shit, right? That shit's fucking cool, right? The cool factor to me is like what overrides. Like I'm saying, would you really choose that box or that cardboard backing box that he paid $3,000 for, right? Or would you choose one of these tiles? If they said choose, especially if they told you choose and you can't sell it. If they told you choose and you can't sell this, this is something you have to keep for the rest of your life. Nobody would take that box over there, that cardboard backing. I don't think anybody would choose that. Right? And he's the expert, and he paid $3,000 for that, right? Where I'm just the loser and shit, right? That everybody blocks and stuff. I don't know anything. And I only paid, with shipping total and everything, I think it was $190 for all 3 of these tiles. Okay? So under $200. For under $200, I bought these tiles and they were shipped to my house and everything, for under $200. So I invested less than 10%. These cost me less than 10% of what he invested in that other thing. And there's no way I would trade these for that. I wouldn't trade these tiles for that piece of cardboard thing. That thing he's got has no cool factor and shit, right? I want these tiles. I want if you just tell me to choose and I get to keep them, I'm taking these tiles. It's not even like close and stuff, right? And this is a big thing about what I'm saying about is trying to get people to understand is what the card market and how things work and shit, right? And don't believe the hype and don't believe the experts. The reason that the people, you can be damn well sure that anytime that somebody is saying being positive and they're pushing that positivity, it's because they want to bend you over and fuck you in the ass. There's the great quote from George Carlin, the great comedian George Carlin. And he says, the person that came up with the quote, buyer beware, he says he was probably bleeding out the ass. Right? So that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's buyer beware. And when you see somebody talking about positivity, oh, I want to be positive. Okay, they're lying to you. They don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to be smart. They don't want to be like interrogated and shit because they can't handle the scrutiny, right? Because when you actually scrutinize the shit, like that Sean thing over there, okay, I'm like, okay, well, dude, where's the cool factor on that fucking thing? That thing ain't fucking cool. These are fucking cool. They're beautiful. They're custom made by an actual artist of iconic Star Wars characters and shit, right? And my total investment's less than $200. So how can I go wrong? And that's what another thing is, like when you're investing in stuff, you can get some really quality items at very affordable prices. And this item, they're not there. It's not like that there's 10 people selling these and they're all trying to undercut the other one and I just got the best deal. It's not like that. You go search for these Dean Russo tiles in eBay. You're not going to find these ones. They're not there. And I didn't see, I haven't seen any other ones and shit, right? Now, I assume there's a lot more out there. This Dean Russo guy, he does all kinds of stuff, too. Like, you can get a coffee mug you can get probably a coffee mug with one of these pictures on it, you know, designed like that. They're really cool and shit, too, at fair prices. You can get t-shirts. You can get puzzles. I like his puzzles, the Dean Russo puzzles that are like that. Like, imagine having one of these, but in a puzzle, like a 1,000-piece puzzle. How fucking cool is that? It's fucking cool. And you probably pick that up if they had that one. It would probably cost you like $30, $40, you know, with shipping, whatever, something like that. And that's fun. That's exciting. It's cool. And it's still affordable and shit, right? So, but these ones actually being hand signed, right? That these are actually, you know, each one is actually, so not only, and see, look at USA. You know, getting anything that's like made in America. And like I said, they got these timestamps on it, so they're like super official and shit, right? There's no doubt these things are real. Hand signed, made in the USA by a freaking real artist and shit, right? So that's what I'm saying is like, man, they're freaking, these are cool. And they're made by a real artist, and they're iconic characters. They're actual art. They're super cool. And I only paid it was $190, so like say under $200 for the three of them and shit, right? I just think that's a good deal. I think, and what I'm trying to say is that there's really cool things to invest in out there at really reasonable prices. And don't let yourself be fooled to invest high dollar amounts because people are saying, oh, but this is rare. And because it's rare, it makes it more valuable. And it's like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but where's the cool factor? You've got to put it in a box and grade it at a high grade, even for him, in his own words, even for him to acknowledge that it's cool, it had to be graded in a high grade or else he wouldn't acknowledge it. And it's like, okay, well then, it's not so cool then, is it? Because these are fucking cool just the way they sit with my less than $200 investment, right? So, and like I said, with the people that tell you the positive, it's because they're lying to you. They're trying to fuck you in the ass. They're going to screw you over. I don't need to tell somebody, be positive. Like if I show them these tiles and shit, I don't need you to be positive and shit. If you don't like them, good for you. Move the fuck on. Because I sure as hell fucking like them, and I have no problem keeping these for the rest of my fucking life. Like, I don't want to ever sell these. Like, you know, I have no plan. Like, I would keep these. These are a lot more important to me than a lot of my sports cards. A lot of the sports cards, I'm scared of the cards and shit, right? I'm scared that the population, because I've been through it and I've seen so many great fucking players and nobody even talks about them. Great players who won championships and shit, right? And nobody fucking talks about them at all. And there's all these weird things that happen where the league doesn't just support them. A perfect player is like LeGarrette Blount. LeGarrette Blount was coming out of college and then he got in a fight where the guy came up to him and he punched the other football player in the face. And then as he was leaving the field, the fans are screaming at him. So he started kind of getting into it with the fans. And that kind of almost, it didn't ruin his NFL career, but it ruined any respect he was going to get from the NFL. They were not going to support him or whatever. But then you see him play, and I believe he won two championships. I think he won with Tom Brady. Or I'm trying to think of the two. I think he was on that Tom Brady team with the Bucks. I know he was on the Eagles team when the Eagles won, and then he was on that team. So, but I think he's got 2 Super Bowls, and he was a dominant factor. He was a really good running back, but where's he at now? I don't even think he's in the league anymore and shit, right? And nobody's talking about LeGarrette Blount. Nobody gives a fuck about him. That's what I'm saying is like, there's these players that are really fucking good who never get respected by the league. You know, they get on teams because these people get them at cheap because they're totally disrespected, so they don't have to pay him. But he was actually a fucking superstar type of caliber player. But nobody talks about him. Nobody's collecting LeGarrette Blount cards and shit, right? And there's 1,000 stories. It's like on the Any Given Sunday, the movie, when Lawrence Taylor is sitting he's like in a sauna room. He's talking to the Willie Beeman. And he's telling Willie Beeman, he's like, dude, for every Jerry Rice, there's 100 brothers you never even heard of. That's the way it goes. There's so much talent out there and shit, right? And the people need their opportunity. And even if you get your opportunity, the next thing you know, they're trading you away and all this stuff. So it's a tricky game in understanding who are the right players to invest in that can achieve the greatness. Plus they can be loved by the city that they're in and loved by the team and then supported by the league. And then they get the endorsement. It's tricky. It is a tricky game. And these people keep telling you that they're all investable. And it's like, dude, even if they're good and they make accomplishments, dude, they're not like somebody like Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan looked like a good up-and-coming young quarterback when he first came into the league. He looked good. And then he went to the Super Bowl and they were dominating the fucking Patriots. And then it all fell apart and they lost that game, right? And now, does anybody want Matt Ryan cards? They're on their way to zero. And you're talking about a guy that was legitimate fucking quarterback. He was that close to winning the Super Bowl he was that close to beating the shit out of the Patriots. And nobody wants his shit. Right? But these right here, these tiles, like I said, there's alternative things. Like I said, I paid less than $200. And these are iconic Star Wars characters and they're made by a real artist. And how could this investment go wrong? The only way they can go wrong is if I break them and shit, right? That's the only thing I can see. Only if they get broken, they get destroyed. But other than that, come on, I can't go wrong on these. And how cool would these look sitting up on your shelf? Like all the people have all their items in their room and stuff. How cool would these look sitting up on the shelf and stuff? Everybody's eyes would gravitate towards them. Which that means it holds value. If people's eyes gravitate towards it and if they stare at them with admiration, that's valuable. That to me, that shows. And then when you tell the people, yeah, these are made by Dean Russo. Look at, they're hand signed. Each one of them is hand signed. Now, I'd have to know more technical things to know how many are in production and stuff like that. But like I said, without even knowing the technical definitions, just my understanding of knowing stuff like, okay, well, these are actually made by an artist. An artist usually put limited runs on things like this because they're artists and shit, right? So they produce things in a more of, there's things that they produce like this that are more of a limited run. Then there's other things that you could get from him that he'll make as many of them as he can sell, like t-shirts and shit, right? I'm sure there's no limited run. He's not trying to make collectible t-shirts and shit. Not really. That's not, I don't, you know. So I'm sure, yeah, he'd make as many of those as he could and stuff. But these, no. These are hand signed. Right? So just with my general basic knowledge, I see these as an actual collectible, right? With incredible cool factor and a very low investment. My initial investment into them was very low, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's like all these people that are experts and they're always trying to say be positive and all this shit. I just don't, it's like, fuck that stupid positivity shit. They're not giving you quality advice because they're the ones that are going to telling you, oh, buy this car. Next thing you know, you're Jeff Wilson paying like $23,000 for I don't even know his name, Desmond Ritter, you know, whatever, the quarterback and shit. It's like you bought a card because the card can potentially I don't know. It's like, I don't understand why. How could that player that doesn't have any history in the league, hasn't really done anything, how could any card that he have be worth $20,000? How is that possible? What the fuck is going on and shit, right? And then they tell you, oh, well, be positive. We don't want your negativity. Yeah, because you're wanting to screw the next guy. Like a perfect, like that Justin Gamble. He commented on that sale from Roth Cards, and Justin Gamble is like, man, I dream that I can cook somebody like that someday. And it's like, oh, so your whole thing in what you just exposed yourself, that your whole purpose of being in this community is you want to take advantage of somebody. That's what would bring joy to you, is taking advantage. How is that? That's bullshit. trying to take advantage of people, that's what your participation in this community is, your desire to be able to take advantage of somebody, to be able to rip them off, not caring that you left them holding the sack that could just easily, boom, it's be worth nothing in a couple days and shit. I mean, that's bullshit. But like these, if I told you to invest in these tiles and shit, right, I'm not going to feel bad. I'm going to feel happy. I want to lead you in the right direction to invest in some quality things that you can enjoy for your whole life. And then at the end of your life and stuff, even at a yard sale price, shit, you probably get your money back. Somebody who pay you something for these and shit. You know, it's not like something that's just going to be like garbage and people are just like, well, that's just garbage. Can we find some sucker who's willing to pay it? These tiles, it's instantly, you would know, oh, these got to have some value and they're cool as hell, right? I mean, you know, so there's just a lot more to what's going on and how to invest and what to invest in and shit, like the cool factor. Don't listen to the people that are pushing positivity because they don't want you to know the truth. That's what it means. They want to lie to you. They don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to question things. It's like, dude, I'm about questioning everything. Constantly. Everything needs to be questioned. And when you have a thought, that thought has to be willing to be altered. Don't set your thought is not set in concrete and shit. That means you're dead. That means if your thought is in concrete, that means it's your last words and it's probably on your tombstone. It means you're dead. While I'm living, I'm not going to make myself dead and stop thinking and shit. I got to keep adjusting and stuff, right? And so that's what I don't like those people that talk about the positivity, because those are dead people who don't want you to think. They want to lock their thoughts in concrete and put them in a box, and they don't want anybody to question it and shit, right? So as I'm saying, it's real easy to spot the frauds and stuff, right? Because they're all spouting the same shit. But generally, people want to follow the crowd, so they want to follow all those people with their bullshit positive messages, who are, the next thing you know, they're telling you, don't forget to subscribe and like and ring the bell and shit, right? So I can get my money off my monetization. Because what you'll find out is if those people are not monetizing their pages, and if they're not generating a revenue from the content that they're providing, then they wouldn't be doing it. Right? I haven't made $1 from fucking YouTube yet. I have my other page, 2,500 subscribers. Got over 500 videos on my Michael Jackson page. I haven't got one fucking check from YouTube, you know? So I don't have to prove to anybody that I'm here doing it for the right reasons and shit. I'm not doing it for all the bullshit reasons and shit, right? Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.